Welcome to Spanos Antics. This episode, we get the engine back in the Volvo. The guys at Phoenix Engine Management have sponsored this episode. They've helped us out loads with this little Volvo build. If you've got a 1UZ, 3UZ, 2UZ, I think they even do 1JZs, they will build you a custom badass loom for any application. They also are the main company in the UK for re-flashing ECUs for UZs. So send it in, they add a bit more horsepower, de-immobilize it and tweak it up for you. Little link below, check them out. Here we have a Volvo 240 hot rod kit. Engine, gearbox, wheels, suspension, axles, drive shafts. There's another axle to go. This is my temporary axle. It's all ready to go back in the car. It's finally ready to start putting some bits back together. We need this to put the engine in, and I want to get the engine in today. Yeah! Wow, got this cross member in, and look how nice it looks, and look how disgusting my rack looks. Oh, it's going to be endless now. I want to get that all cleaned and powder coated, but we ain't got time for that. Let's bolt it back together. Right, well, we're back to put the engine in. It's been a few months. She's all bolted up, new clutch is all in there, new flywheel, all torqued up, cross members in, put the steering rack back on. So hopefully this is going to just pop in. So, fingers crossed.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game.
The engine is back in the Volvo. Happy days. It's really good to have it back in there. Now we just need to button all the other bits up. Okay, so Phoenix Engine Management did the wiring loom for this car. Now they do a full loom, all brand new. The one they did me, slightly older, is still uses some of the original components. In here we have a fuse box. This is the little fuse box with all the relays in. Very nice and neat and watertight. With all the fuses in and bits and bobs and relays. It then has its own special loom, which we've got here, and all the connectors that connects into the original loom. My one being a bit of a weird one, I used a different accelerator pedal. I also sent them my ECU, which they have reflashed to suit it for manual and to give it a little bit more pep, apparently, but no pops and bangs. So that's been done. Also, I sent off the Toyota Hilux accelerator pedal. I sent that to them, and they sent me back a new wiring loom for this pedal, because I had a lot of connectors in it and I had a few issues with it, and I believe it was my extending this wire for my car which made the issues. So they very nicely made me a brand new bit of loom. So there we go. Let's get this all back together, get this wiring back in, tie it all back up again. It might be time to fire it up.
and I'm staying strong. Need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on, and I'm staying strong. Need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
Well, I think we're ready for a fire up. I've got everything plumbed in. I've done the engine mounts, I've done the gearbox mounts, it's been underneath, just fiddly bits. All the sensors are plugged in. We've got no water, so I can't run it for long, and there's no drive shaft, so it's probably gonna leak out the gearbox seal. But I just wanna make sure this thing is alive still. Well, it's running. What we need to do now is go underneath it and finish up a few bits. I got to put the exhaust back together, which in a moment is sitting there behind that cupboard. I need to put the drive shaft back together. I need to put the center mount back together. And then I got to decide what to do about this rear axle. That's the old welded 355. The newly painted, refurbished, beautiful 331 is still at the axle shop, and I don't know if they've even started it yet, and I've been waiting a while and I'm getting a bit impatient, so I think I'm going to bang the old axle back in so I can drive it. It doesn't take much to change it. It's a bit annoying because I don't want anything old and crusty back in, but c'est la vie. So yeah, let's get underneath there and put some bits back together. Exhaust is in. Slight foul on that cross member where I've actually managed to turn it around and double locate the holes. There's a lovely powder coated cross member for the drive shaft. All the rest is in. Did you know we're on Instagram? Check the link below or above. Right, well this radiator getting there. What an ass. Trimmed a bit more metal out, sculpted it in. I'm pretty much there. What I forgot about was the intake, which takes up quite a bit of space. But I pretty much got it, so there's a gnat's fart between there. But loads of space on the pulley now. So I just want to get that all mocked up and I can start putting this together. I've got to weld the bung in for the 2-speed fan, so that all goes down there. I'll go and get Leroy Atomic Welding to burn that in, and then we can start putting this back together. Okay, I'm still making this fan shroud, and now what I'm doing is essentially filling in the gaps so the air is forced through the fan when it's running. I'm doing this by making templates out of cardboard, then transferring them to the aluminium, cutting them out with a jigsaw, and then placing them on. And then I'll nip round to my mate Leroy Atomic Welding, and he will bzzz this all together. This fan shroud, radiator fan shroud action is taking forever, but we're getting there. Let's go. So here it is. As you can see, what I've done is I've riveted the fan to the shroud I made and had all welded up, and then I bolted that to the radiator so I can access it. Okay, so I want to talk about this fan setup and why I've spent ages making this fan shroud and making this fan work. This particular fan is pretty good for a few reasons. It's a Volvo unit itself, which I quite like, It's quite well used in the hot rod scene because with this fan and this relay, you can have a temperature-based 2-speed fan. What does that mean? Down here, there is a temperature gauge and it's got 2 prongs on it. Now those 2 prongs give out 2 different temperature signals to this relay and they plug in here. I've run the wiring now for that. This wire is the positive wire for this relay, and then the last one is the one from the fan that goes in there. So as the engine warms up and the radiator gets warm, when it starts to get up to a bit of temperature, the first signal will be sent back to the relay. This relay will then send power to the fan, which is a 2-speed fan, and start the fan spinning slowly. If that keeps it under control, all is fine. If the vehicle keeps creating heat and the radiator gets warmer, the second signal will be sent from the sender to the second signal on the relay box, then sending the signal to the second wire to do the 2-speed fan and then double the speed. All done by this little brain, and as it cools down, it does the reverse sequence. Where before I just had a switch on the dash and I had to keep an eye on it and the fan was a bit shit. This is a good fan, a good relay, all Volvo stuff, which is even cooler. And all integrated now into this bad boy aluminium radiator shroud. It's been a bit of work to get it to work, but I'm trying to make it a bit more future-proof. So we'll just finish wiring this all up and fitting this into the car, and we'll show you it all in there. To keep my power steering pump happy, because these power steering pumps on the 3UZs tend to kill themselves and they're hard to find. So to keep it happy, I'm going to keep it cool. So, radiator, little radiator cooler for that. Now I don't want to mount it straight like I normally do, straight to the radiator. I think it will pass too much heat. So I'm going to float it off the front and then put spacers through. Power steering cooler buttoned up, that is in there solid. I basically P-clipped it. Rubber like P-clipped. Fly and return. Run that through a little bit of rigid to go around, a bit more cooling, and then the return goes back up to the reservoir. So that's buttoned up. Let's get this radiator in. And there's the relay. Even fits on the original little relay bar. And then the wires are all stealthed in and tucked in, and job done. We're out of time on this episode of Spanos Antics. Hope you enjoyed. In the next episode we will be putting all the powder coating bits back underneath and building up the suspension, and maybe even a cheeky motor fire up.